Most people don't stay stuck because of lack of talent or lack of potential. They stay stuck because of patterns, deep, familiar patterns that look harmless on the surface, but quietly kill movement from the inside. The Stoic understands this. He doesn't ask, "Why am I not moving forward?" He asks, "What am I doing repeatedly that keeps me in place?" This isn't about motivation. It's about clarity. Because until you identify what's anchoring you, no amount of willpower will pull you forward. The truth is, most people are not lost. They're trapped inside their own thinking, and they don't need to add more. They need to remove what's in the way. This is where philosophy becomes practical. The Stoic doesn't blame circumstances. He looks inward. He sees the patterns. He names them. Then he breaks them, slowly, deliberately, and without noise. That's how progress begins, not with hype, with honesty. In the next few minutes, we'll expose 4 mistakes that quietly keep people stuck, and more importantly, how to see them differently, through disciplined, clear, Stoic eyes. The first mistake is waiting for the perfect moment. You tell yourself you're just being patient. You're preparing. You'll start when the timing is right. But the Stoic sees the truth. This isn't patience. It's fear dressed as strategy. Life rarely offers clean timing. The path only appears when you move. Waiting feels safe, but it slowly drains your courage, because the longer you wait, the more you start needing guarantees. And the Stoic knows certainty is a myth. He doesn't wait for confidence. He acts to build it, even in small moves, especially in small moves, because progress is momentum, not magic. And you don't get unstuck by thinking about it. You get unstuck by doing something uncomfortable and real. The second mistake is emotional decision-making. Living by impulse, letting moods become your compass. One bad day and you change direction. One piece of doubt and you cancel the plan. The Stoic doesn't kill emotion, he contains it. He gives it space, then lets logic lead. Because if your emotions lead your life, you'll always move in circles. Controlled not by purpose, but by how you feel in the moment. Staying stuck often looks like doing nothing, but it's really doing too much of the wrong thing. Based on fear, based on comfort, based on feeling. The third mistake is confusing motion with progress. You stay busy, you make plans, you organize, you research, but you don't move. You don't execute. And slowly you build an illusion that you're advancing, when in reality, you're just circling the same problem with fancier language. The Stoic doesn't glorify motion. He values movement, real movement, imperfect action. He doesn't need everything to feel right before starting. He just starts, because he knows the mind loves to stay safe, and busy is safe. It gives you the feeling of effort without the risk of outcome. But the cost is real. Years spent being almost ready, almost clear, almost committed. So the Stoic does the hard thing, the boring thing, the necessary thing, without waiting for motivation, without checking if he feels like it. Because discipline isn't about emotion, it's about direction. If this message is challenging you, subscribe now and hit the bell. Because growth doesn't start when things feel perfect. It starts when you stop negotiating with your excuses. Now ask yourself this: are you actually stuck, or are you just hiding inside effort that leads nowhere? The fourth mistake is blaming. It sounds obvious, but it's one of the most subtle, corrosive habits in the world. Not just blaming others, but blaming circumstances, timing, luck, the past, anything to avoid one simple truth: you're responsible for what happens next. The Stoic doesn't waste energy assigning fault. He's not interested in who's to blame. He's interested in what's in his control. Because he knows every moment spent pointing outward is a moment not spent building inward. And while everyone else is busy telling stories about why they're stuck, he's moving, quietly, relentlessly, forward. Blame feels good. It gives you a reason to stand still. It makes the pain feel justified, but it also steals your power. Because if everything is someone else's fault, then everything is out of your hands. And the Stoic refuses to live like that. Even when he's right, even when he was wronged, he asks, "What now?" That question is freedom, because it ends the story and begins the strategy. Once you see the patterns, you can't unsee them. That's where the shift begins, not with motivation, but with awareness. The Stoic doesn't try to change everything in one day. He doesn't declare war on all his flaws. He observes, he corrects. One response at a time, one choice at a time. He replaces the impulse to wait with the discipline to act, the emotion to react with the control to respond. That's progress. These 4 mistakes are subtle because they hide behind good intentions. Waiting sounds wise. Emotional decisions feel authentic. Busyness feels productive. Blame feels justified. But none of them build the life you say you want. They just keep you looping, mentally busy, emotionally drained, and spiritually stagnant. The Stoic's path out isn't loud. It's not a big breakthrough. It's repetition. It's showing up even without clarity. Choosing the harder right over the easier wrong. Taking responsibility, not because it's fair, but because it's yours. That's what breaks the cycle. Ownership. Quiet, steady, personal ownership of your time, your focus, your direction. Because when you stop giving your power to distractions, excuses, and emotion, what's left is strength. You're not stuck because you're broken. You're stuck because you've repeated the same choices while hoping for different outcomes. The Stoic doesn't shame himself for this, but he doesn't tolerate it either. He chooses truth over comfort, action over excuses, movement over noise. Most people wait for something outside of them to change. The Stoic becomes the change, not through loud reinvention, but through quiet correction. He adjusts, he sharpens, he removes what weakens him, one mental habit at a time. If you've recognized even one of these mistakes in yourself, that's not failure, that's awareness. And awareness is the beginning of control. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a standard, a decision, a refusal to keep repeating what isn't working. Because if you don't break the pattern will break you. So here's your question. If nothing in your life changes, but you finally do, how far could you go from here? If that hit you, subscribe now, not for motivation, but for reminders that pull you back to discipline, back to self-respect, back to who you were before life made you forget.